live from LA and San Bernardino Mountains and the East Coast. It's Saturday. I mean, it's not. It's Wednesday, but it's HowDoWeHuman. It's the podcast where we overanalyze all the weird and uncomfortable micro moments in life. I'm one of your hosts, Evan Cox.
I'm one of your hosts, Chris Binning.
And today it's been a while. We have a guest. We're very excited. We've got Jon Schneider, creator, executive producer, and host. I'm giving you all the titles of the Saturday Night Network. Jon, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. What an honor. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. And, you know, we mentioned in our little intro there that this podcast, normally we talk about, situations that make us feel awkward or uncomfortable. But anybody that's been listening to us for the last 285 episodes know that sometimes we like to throw our entire premise out the window and just do something for fun. And that's what we're doing today in honor of SNL's 50th anniversary. We're doing a draft, building out our
Dream team.
all-star. Yeah, dream team's a better way to put it, because I feel like when you say all-star and then you see how many people are inevitably going to be left undrafted, it feels untrue. But kind of creating what could be a dream one-off episode of SNL, and see kind of who ends up with the most intriguing episode on paper. There have been plenty of episodes that seem good on paper and then turn out not so good. So maybe all of our episodes would be bad. But we're going to leave that part up.
Oh, Lorne Michaels is good at this.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Well, that's the beauty of podcasting, guys, is that you can really do whatever the hell you want. So
yeah, and there's no way to fact check whether or not we did a good job. So
there are no rules.
Yes. Jon, for the listeners, what's your history with the show, Ben? How long have you been watching Saturday Night Live on a consistent basis? And what do you think of SNL 50 so far?
Oh, okay. Lots of good questions. So I always grew up, hearing about the show and checking out some episodes, but it was really when I got into high school that I had the very traditional SNL experience of, not being old enough to go out and go clubbing and miss what's going on, but be old enough to actually stay up with my friends on Saturday nights. And we would very much look forward to watching the show on a weekly basis. And I got very lucky that when I was in high school, it was a, quote unquote golden era of the show where, things were doing really well there. Some of the best cast members ever were there. Your Kristen Wiggs and Bill Hader's, Jason Sudeikis, Fred Armisen, Keenan, all those people were together and producing great stuff week after week. So much so that we would, go to school on Mondays and then everyone would be talking about the sketches. So SNL for me, became a pretty big part of my life at that point. And then I got to the 40th anniversary of the show, which was about 10 years ago. And I realized, I thought I was a fan, but I didn't realize, how much had happened prior to that.
Yeah.
So my obsessive nature led me to going back and watching every SNL episode since 1975.
Wow.
Just learning about the entire series, taking some detailed notes on stuff and statistics and all that stuff. And I ended up starting a podcast called SNL Stats over COVID when I was, sort of looking for something to do. And fortunately, people were interested. And then eventually we grew it into what is the Saturday Night Network now. And we're fortunate that we get to cover the show on a week-to-week basis and interview cast members and go to the show sometimes. So it's been quite the journey over the last few years, but that's basically the Cliff Notes version.
That's so fun. Why did we choose to talk about awkward things? We could just be talking about SNL every week.
SNL could be awkward.
Absolutely. There have definitely been some real awkward moments on that show. Any stress, any worries you have about this draft, Jon? I'll say that for myself, I'm really worried that even though we're drafting the whole eras of the show, you can pick anybody. I'm really worried that I'm about to just draft that same golden era that is also when I started watching of Sudeikis and Hader and Wig and just building that same cast again. And forgetting what we were supposed to be doing of pulling from all eras.
Well, I'm not so nervous about it. I've done a few SNL drafts, so I'm like pretty experienced in that area. What I think is pretty unique about this draft and what would be fun for any SNL fan to listen to is the caveat that you guys put in the instructions, which was that like if you choose like Chevy Chase, you're not like choosing him in the 70s. You're choosing like the bumbling Chevy Chase now.
Yes,
so it's like it's a very like different thing. So you have to sort of think like, okay, like who still got it?
Yeah,
exactly.
We were just talking before we started recording. It's interesting to me to think because you don't see like the closest thing I can think of is like Leslie Jones was a bit older than everybody when she started on the show, but you generally aren't seeing like, oh, all these people in their 20s and one person who's 65.
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah.
Could that work? What would that? And I think it might. I don't know. I'm not giving away my draft secrets, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we shall see.
Well, yeah, so we are going to be drafting 8 cast members. At least one of them will be hosting Weekend Update. I think that, with a cast as small as 8 cast members, you can assume that Weekend Update person doesn't have to strictly be on the desk. But and then we are also drafting a host and a musical guest. All of these people that we're drafting have to be alive as of Wednesday, October 9th, when we're recording.
Oh, so, man, don't put a curse out there.
Depending on who you pick, maybe that'll be different by the time this episode comes out on Monday. Yeah, exactly. To determine the draft order, we're going to take a little 5-question quiz. Whoever gets the most points correct will get to choose where they go in the draft order. It will be a snake draft. Even though there's only 3 of us, we're still going to snake it around. All right. And then we will, whoever, if there's a tie for points, we can figure out how we want to handle that at the end. But
so wait, these are not SNL questions?
They're not SNL questions because we knew you would
throwing you off your game
if this was SNL questions.
I was playing so coy for like 10 minutes, being like, yeah, sure, do a quiz. Like, that's fine.
See what happens.
This is maybe an SNL question. Yeah, exactly.
Which I
question number 1 here. The penny farthing was a popular type of what? Train, car, boat, or bicycle? I feel like I know what the answer is. Yes.
Who guesses?
This is
We're all going to guess. It's just the honor system that none of us are looking it up or changing where we're going. But
so
yeah.
Do we say it out loud before you pick?
Sure.
Go ahead and say it out loud, and then we'll just kind of, even though I'm going to be clicking here, we'll just keep track of who has gotten the most correct.
Okay. I feel like the only fair way to do it is that we all say it out loud at the exact same time, so that way we're not
there will be a slight delay probably, so we'll just all have to trust that we said it at the same time.
Yes.
But yeah, here we go. We'll count it down. 3, 2, 1. Bicycle. Did we all say bicycle?
I said boat.
Okay, you said boat. Okay, Evan and I both said bicycle. It was bicycle, so Evan and I will each get 1 point.
What was the first commercially available console video game that allowed the video game to be saved? Atari Pong, The Legend of Zelda, Tetris, or Super Mario Brothers? Interesting.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I have my answer.
I think I'm good.
Okay. Evan, you feel ready to lock in your answer?
I don't feel good at all, but I'll answer.
All right.
Ooh, all right.
3, 2, 1.
The Legend of
Atari
Zelda.
Pong. Okay, so John and I both picked Pong, and Evan, you picked The Legend of Zelda.
That's correct.
Oh, wow. I thought you were wrong for sure, but you got that right, Evan.
Look at that.
Hey, here's a great question I think we all know. Where are dolphins' nipples located? Under their chin, behind the fins, on their tail, or anus?
See, I don't know if this is cheating, but I have experience with a picture of me and a dolphin.
Oh, man.
So I'm trying to see if I could see them.
Yeah.
We said you can't look it up on the internet, but if it's in the room with
if you have photographic evidence somewhere in the room, it's okay.
I can't see the nipples.
Yeah, I've got to guess. based on a completely different, unrelated animal. But I learned that about them recently, and I'm going to attribute it here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say an answer, and I have no clue if it's right. John, you feel ready to pick an answer?
I don't, but let's do it.
Let's go.
3, 2, 1.
Behind the
under
fins.
the chin. Okay.
I think we all answered different.
Yeah. What did you say, John? Real quick, so I can mark it down.
Unfortunately, you make me say it twice, but I chose anus.
Okay, that's yes.
It's a sentence I didn't think I would say today.
Great. So we did all pick different ones. So this will be interesting. You got it right, John.
It was
so
the anus.
John, be proud of that anus, as we like to say here.
Big anus guy here.
Yeah, big anus.
What kind of plant does vanilla come from? Orchid, sunflower, rose, or carnation? This is new information to me.
Yeah, I had no idea. I have an answer. I'm gonna lock it in, but
I'll lock mine in. I don't like it.
Okay, I'm good.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Carnation.
All right, you both chose carnation. I chose orchid, and I was correct.
Is anybody keeping score?
I am keeping score, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I can always trust Chris's.
This is the last question. Currently, Evan and I each have 2 points, and John, you have 1 point. So if John, you are the only one to get this right, this whole quiz will have been for nothing. So please do that. What technology was named after a Danish king? Xerox, Zune, microwaves, or Bluetooth?
Wow. Also new information. Old King Microwave.
Okay.
I've got my answer.
I have my answer also. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Zune.
Oh, we all picked Zune. All right. We were all wrong. It was Bluetooth.
Well,
there was a king named Bluetooth?
Yeah, I don't know what
sounds like a pirate.
What that means.
Pirate king. All right, so we tied there.
Evan and I both tied. I'll defer to you, Evan. Where would you like to go in the draft order? Would you like to be first, second, or third?
Listen, I'm going to take that first pick.
Okay.
Like a greedy little guy.
I had the next most points. I want to be second because I get stressed out on the end of the snake draft. So, John, we treat our guests a little better than this normally, but you're going to go last.
It's okay. I actually would have picked third if I had my
perfect.
Right.
And it works out for all of us.
This works
this works great.
We know where dolphins' nipples are.
You can draft in any order that you would like, in terms of like, you can draft the host first or last, or weekend update person first or last. It doesn't matter. But
so can I clarify one thing?
Yes, of course.
So we're drafting 8 people total, including the host and musical guest, or 8 cast members plus the host and musical guest?
8 cast members plus host and musical
10 total.
guest. Excuse me. Yes, 10 total. In honor of Jean Smart, her premiere episode, I am also doing this episode a little bit sick. So, Evan, take it away with your first pick.
Listen, I want this, but this is also purely defensive because I think everybody wants this. Number 1 pick off the board, it's Bill Hader. I'm taking him. You can't have him.
You were right to do that because that was also my first pick. But you know, when he gets his anxiety attack during the episode, it can be on you instead of on me. So, all right, that's a solid choice, Evan. It helps me in terms of not drafting the golden era. So I'm going to choose for my first pick someone who is only on the show for 1 season, but has come back many times. I'm going to draft Martin Short.
Wow.
in my first spot here.
Thought you were going Randy Quaid.
I like that pick.
Who'd you think I was picking, Evan?
Randy Quaid.
Okay, yeah. No.
All reliable.
Yeah, Marty's a good pick.
Yeah.
He didn't have a great time, like a great long career as a cast member, but very solid in one season and has hosted 4 times. So
I thought I could get him a little bit later.
Yeah, I thought you could have too. I mean, you guys just left me some powerhouses, so I will.
It's fair.
I will kick things
now you
off.
get to pick 2 here, John. So who you picking?
Oof.
All right, first up, give me maybe the greatest cast member of all time, Will Ferrell. I'll take here.
Solid.
Still got it. Hosted 5 times
100%.
on the season on the show for like 6-7 years. Just crushed it. So I'm gonna go there. And back to back here, I'm gonna take another Mount Rushmore cast member who I've seen work a lot with Will Ferrell. So I like thinking about the dynamics of my cast right now. I'm gonna go with Kristen Wiig here.
Love it.
Okay, solid choice. And we'll once we get outside of some of these classic picks, maybe we'll talk some more about some of these cast members. But right now, we're just kind of a lot of us are picking top names off the board. Yeah. I'm also going to pick someone that works well with Will Ferrell. Not that it'll
who's
matter,
not on your cast.
but who's not on my cast. But I am going to choose. My strategy is to pull this out of your potential roster here, and I am going to take Amy Poehler off the board.
Nice.
Maybe that'll be my weekend update person. I haven't decided. I want to see what I can mix around.
I love that pick. I'm a huge fan of Amy. I had her in my top 10 cast members of all time, so it's a good one.
Yeah, I hope that she comes back to host. We haven't seen her around, I feel like, in a while, other than the cameo, I think, in Aubrey Plaza's episode last
Yeah, I think last time she hosted
ago?
was with Tina in 2015.
Mm-hmm. All right, Evan, are you ready to pick 2 people?
Oh, man, no. I forgot. But I'm ready to pick one person, and then I'll figure it out from there. Oof. It's funny. You were both saying your golden age years from your like high school times. I'm a smidgen older and did start watching more in those Will Ferrell years. But you guys are picking all of them, and I'm picking all the people from your golden age. I need someone who can do it all. And I mean all. And that is Maya Rudolph.
Yeah,
Nice.
Solid choice.
Thank you.
I mean, maybe could play the president.
Hey.
Yeah, could be.
Oh,
Evan,
damn,
you ready to
it's
pick
me
again? Yeah, sorry. Not to throw you off.
I'm back. Oof. Okay. Let's see. I don't want to go too heavy on that. What don't I have? The problem is I feel like I've got so many people who I feel like I can get later, but I hope I'm not wrong. Okay. I feel like I gotta just, because this is a big name. He's back, baby. All-timer. I'm going Dana Carvey.
Okay.
That one stressed me out. I really had to think about that.
I mean, that's
that one
another
wouldn't have got
pick.
past me for sure.
Yeah. This is who I thought you were about to take, Evan, and I thought you were going to steal another pick from me. But I'm going to also pick somebody who can do it all, an all-timer, a paragon, if I'm using that correctly, of sketch comedy. I'm going to take Kenan Thompson off the board.
That was right there for me. I was thinking about Kenan. I broke these down into categories of like people who do impressions, people who do all the sketch stuff, stand-ups, and then I have a category just called Kenan Thompson with Kenan there. So I'm gonna have to figure out someone else to be Kenan Thompson. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think Keenan. See, I thought you were going to say somebody else. I love Keenan. Obviously, been on the show forever. But I thought you were going to say someone else, and I'm really glad you left him for me. Again, caveat being that we're doing this in 2024, but
Yes.
I still think like this guy still got it and would absolutely crush it on the show. So I'm going to take Eddie Murphy off the board here.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, solid choice. You got a solid group here going with Farrell, Wig, and Murphy.
He brought it when he
I feel
hosted.
like 3 just absolute powerhouses. Then now we're gonna get a little interesting here because I think we took a lot of really, really good ones. Just trying to think about who might fall back to me. I think there's only one person who's in my personal top 10 who's still alive and can fill it out here and do great on my team. I'm gonna pick Kate McKinnon here.
Oh, interesting. That's not who I thought you were going to pick. Just based on one of your favorites who's still alive and having listened to some of your podcasts. That was not the name I expected to have come up. But
okay, I can't wait to
hear
who you
choice.
Think that was. Yeah, I just feel like I want to get a good amount of women on my team. As Kate's just like this all-time great. Like I just feel like her and Kristen together. I mean, like to imagine that team together. I mean, it would be just unbelievable.
Yeah, a solid reasoning. If the person's name comes up later, I'll shout it out as who I thought you were going to pick. I don't want to, remind Evan if he forgot this person even existed. So for my next pick, I also have these broken down into categories. I have utility players. I have the star or the face. And then I have this other group that I've deemed weirdos who are just like people with such a different brain for sketch comedy that you never know where it's going to go. And this is just a wild card choice, I feel like, because it's similar to Martin Short. This is somebody who was around for one season. And I'm going to pick Tim Robinson and add Tim Robinson to my team. Interested to see if there's any shot at all that Tim Robinson appears in this 50th season of SNL, whether at the anniversary or, I mean, I doubt it would be more likely, I feel like, in the anniversary than a cameo in another regular episode. But I would be interested to see if Tim Robinson ever shows his face in 8H, after that one season he was on.
I think he'll be there. He also wrote for the show for a couple years after, so it's not like he didn't have any connection there. So I think he'll be around at the 50th, and it would be really funny to get him in something.
All right, Evan, you're back. Gonna need you to unmute yourself.
How long have I been muted?
A while.
I've just been silently
probably
going
since your last turn, I think.
Oh my god. Well, what I've been saying, I didn't realize I was muted. That was Tim Robinson was going to be my next pick. You stole him from me.
Oh, all right.
You said weirdos, and I said, don't take my weirdos because I have a category called Bizarro Land.
Okay,
and
great.
I really wanted Tim Robinson, but he's gone, and there's nothing I can do about that. Okay. In that case, looking through my list. I just can't trust anything. If Tim Robinson's gone, anyone can go. One of my categories, I think one thing every sketch show needs is a good, this is an old-fashioned term, but the straight man and or straight woman. This is one of my favorites. One of the most reliable cast members ever. Doesn't ever get his flowers. But I'm bringing Tim Meadows to my team because I think he can make any scene better. After that, though,
I'll say about Tim. I mean, he definitely does not get the credit he deserves. He was fantastic on the show. It took him a few years, but he just was so solid for them.
And now he's in like every other sitcom out there, and every scene he's in is amazing. The guy cracks me up.
You both love Tim's.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. We had to separate him. We didn't want a full Tim team.
Can't have a Tim team. Man. Well, hey. Yeah. Oof. Off. Eef. Yeah, this is I gotta do this. Big name on the board. No, I changed my mind. Man, I'm wishy-washy today. I'm taking Bobby Moynihan.
Yeah, a solid choice.
Yeah, love Bobby. Got to interview him a couple times. He's just the coolest guy.
That's awesome. I stood behind him in line once, and he was a great guy. Good order. He got a sandwich.
And I saw him at the airport. So we've all been around Bobby, a man of the people.
Bobby.
Yes.
Well, I guess I'm shocked that this person's still on the board. So I'm going to take them.
Feel like an idiot
now. And I'm going to pair them with Amy on the Weekend Update desk. I'm going to take Tina Fey off the board.
That's who I was thinking, and when I changed my mind, but I realized like she's so tied to Weekend Update and just being a head writer, and that's not what I need because I know who I want for Weekend Update. So it was probably a mistake, but you're welcome.
Well, I'm still happy to have her.
Yeah, I think it's a great call. I probably would have taken her here on one of these two picks if you didn't take her.
Yeah.
But you did leave me with two of my favorite cast members of all time, and I'm going to go for them now here because I feel like I have enough powerhouses with Will and Kristen and Eddie and Kate, and I feel like now I just want to round out my team with like what I enjoy in Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
So first up, give me Will Forte, my favorite.
That's who I thought you were going to pick when you picked Kate McKinnon.
Yeah, but if I didn't take Kate there, I feel like one of you guys would have taken her. Sorry, on the way back. Maybe. But yes, ended up getting Will Fall to me here. I mean, he's my favorite cast member ever. Just pure hilarity. So having him on my cast would be awesome. And I'm going to also pick Andy Samberg here. Going to get some digital shorts in. Get the Lonely Island guys back in the building. So for me, does a lot for me.
Man,
absolutely.
Back to back was who after I did mine. I'm like, I want Will Forte next. And then you said that. I'm like, then I'll take Andy Samberg. All right, back to you, Chris.
I'm between two on this one. I think I'm gonna take someone who a lot of my preferred cast members, I guess, are some of the utility people who you can plug in anywhere, as opposed to like some of the big powerhouses. And so I think that this person is still a powerhouse, but also still functions as a utility player. I'm going to add Cecily Strong to my team.
Oh, wow. She missed my list. I forgot. That's a good call.
Thank you.
I mucked that up. All right, back to moi.
Yes.
All right, well, I'm taking... It's funny how this has become a category in and of itself. I'm taking someone else who's great with Will Ferrell, though I don't have him. But one of my favorite older cast members... sorry, I didn't mean to call her older. I'm taking Sherry O'Terry.
Oh, interesting.
Big energy. She cracks me up. I think she'll bring a lot to the squad.
See, that's so interesting because, Sherry obviously loved her on the show. Hasn't done much over the last 10 years. I think she was doing Barbara Walters on the CNN New Year's specials. But besides that, she's been mostly out of it. So I just don't know how Sherry O'Terry would be on an SNL cast in 2024. But obviously one of the best 5 seasons and done that I've ever seen.
She did one episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm some years ago. That made me laugh. So I think she still got it. After that, man, what do I need?
You still need someone to do Weekend Update, and then you have one other cast member spot left aside from Weekend Update.
Do I? I think I have 2 cast member spots. Am I wrong?
you currently have 6 people on your team. You have Bill Hader, Maya Rudolph, Dana Carvey, Tim Meadows, Bobby Moynihan, Sherry O'Terry. You need 2 cast members, but one is doing Weekend Update.
Oh, really? I thought it was 2 cast members and then one doing Weekend Update. All right,
thanks for paying attention.
I'm doing great. Doing great over here. Listen up. I got a Weekend Update host. I don't think like best to ever do it necessarily, but who I do think was best to ever do it has died. And I like this person a lot as a Weekend Update host, so I am going to take them right now. It's Kevin Nealon.
Another interesting choice.
Still crush it.
Yeah, I love Kevin in sketches. On Update, he wasn't my favorite.
I feel that way also. I do enjoy like when Kevin is interviewed on like Conan or when he's been on Comedy Bang Bang. I'm like, wow, this guy's really funny. And then I see some of those older Weekend Update things. Not for me.
All right. Well, I guess
not to slam your pick here.
Seriously,
I apologize.
But do keep in mind, I've got Hans and Franz on my team now. So
yeah, that's true. You did reunite Hans and Franz. I cannot argue with that. My team is, I think, a group that's appreciated, but I don't really have like a powerhouse yet. I am going to open the studio doors and announce, enter Sandman, as it were. I'm going to put Adam Sandler on my team here in this later pick. Somebody
stuff.
who I thought was kind of hit or miss as a cast member, but since he hosted however many years ago that was, 2 or 3, I thought was a really solid host, and so makes me feel like he still has that sketch comedy ability.
Good pick here. I'm going to choose. So when I choose a host and a musical guest, you guys cannot choose those people for host or musical guest, correct?
Correct.
So,
yes.
Okay. So I'm going to do my host and musical guest here. I'm going to take 2 people off the board right now, and I'll leave myself with 2 cast members, one of whom will be Weekend Update that I'll take down the road. Give me the greatest host of all time who still got it, Steve Martin. Going to take him here, take him off the board.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah, have my host here. That's great. Then for my musical guest, give me somebody who is one of my favorite performers ever. I actually just saw him in concert last Friday, and he can also appear in sketches. Give me Justin Timberlake as my musical guest, so you guys can't take him as a host.
Oh man, is this gonna ruin the tour, Evan? I don't know. Let's see. Justin Timberlake. Okay, great. Yeah, I mean those are solid choices. Big historical members of the show's history. That's what we say, right? Historical members of history. Man, now I really have no idea what to do with my pick here. I'm going to pick my musical guest at this point. I'm going to choose someone who one of the biggest musical stars of all time, certainly of right now. And despite this big superstardom, seems to still have a good relationship with the show, a good respect for the show, likes to come back, and is arguably the biggest powerhouse that I've drafted thus far. So hopefully she makes an appearance in a sketch, but at least we'll be getting eyes on my episode. I'm going to pick Taylor Swift as my musical guest.
All right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Would love to see her host again.
In drafts, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, just it's a solid way to get listener votes, I feel like. If you put Taylor Swift out there and then you say, well, what would you want to watch?
This is rough. All right. So 2 for me. I have 1 cast member, a host, and a musical guest left.
Yes.
You guys have both already taken musical guest. So I can take that last. It doesn't matter.
True.
No one's taking my picks. I don't think anyone's taking my host either, because I've got a real out of left field pick, so I might as well pick it here. I'm going with someone who has never hosted before.
Can you do that
strategy? Oh, I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can. It'll,
But how can you do that? Because I could be like, oh, I'm picking Jon Schneider, who was never a cast member, to be my cast member on the cast.
You could do that.
I think cast, no. I think that host and musical guest, you can pick people who haven't been.
I think so.
Been on the show, but I do think cast, yeah, I would have.
But they have to be alive, and then it has to be from today. You can't pick like King whatever from 700.
Yeah, but King Bluetooth. Yeah, you can't draft King Bluetooth.
Yeah.
All right. Didn't expect this to be as controversial as it has been so far.
Yeah, or picking Jesus to host or something.
I approached.
Yeah, please pick Jesus.
I approached host and musical guest in a slightly different way than the two of you. And that is, I'm thinking about this show in the next month or so. This is coming out. Who's relevant? Who would be fun? And for a host who's never hosted before, which is insane, who is going to be in the upcoming Gladiator 2? I'm taking Denzel Washington.
Okay.
I mean, that's a wild choice.
It might be good. It might not work out. But I would watch that episode. I'm crafting a show I would watch.
There's 650 hosts in the history of the show. Probably 300 of them have at least been good to great. And you chose somebody who we don't even know would be good at SNL.
Yeah.
There's my camera.
That's such an interesting, yeah, that is an interesting choice for sure.
I'm an interesting guy.
Yeah. No argument there. Who are you picking next?
Okay. I think I've got it. My last cast member. I've got between two people. And yeah, I think I'm going to go a little off the beaten path. I'm going to pick a current cast member. We've only seen a few seasons of them, but they're equally, I'd say, a powerhouse that could do anything. Anytime they're in a sketch, they get laughs, even if they're not the funny part, quote unquote. I'm going to take Ego Wodum here.
Wow, Evan, I really thought I could get Ego in the last round.
That's what you think.
But, yeah, hey, you and I both saw Ego perform before she was even on the show at UCB. So
the old UCB.
Have that parasocial kinship with her. So it's a solid choice.
All right. You're back.
I am. I think I'm going to save. I don't know if I should draft my host now or if I should. You know what? I think I will draft my host now and get it out of the way. I am of several minds on who to draft as host. It's do I pick my favorite actor who has hosted once, which is Sam Rockwell? I don't know if they'll ever let him come back after he dropped an F-bomb on air. I don't know if he's welcome back.
It's very good though.
I also, was thinking, it'd be fun to pull a name that could potentially be in that Peyton Manning, Betty White, great one-time hosts.
Betty White's not alive anymore.
I know, it's true. It's true. I meant to join that group, not to pick one of them and bump them up. Yeah. But I'm going to instead, I'm going to pick someone solid. It's October. We love to celebrate David S. Pumpkins himself. I'm gonna take Tom Hanks. One of the strongest hosts from many eras of the show to cover that as well. So I'll have Tom Hanks as my host.
Okay. Interesting, because this is a little bit different than I was maybe gonna take Ego, but then you took her. So
wow, that's crazy that we were all gonna take Ego.
I was really
draft.
Yeah, I mean, also like I want my team to be diverse, so like for me, it was also important not to take away anything from her like accolades in the show. But I'm just saying she's also like really really solid. But yeah, given that, my original plan, I believe, was going to take a male Weekend Update anchor with a female cast member like Ego. And now I'm thinking I might go female for the Weekend Update host and go male for the cast member.
Okay.
In which case, I know this is like a little bit of a stretch given her age, but she did do Weekend Update 10 years ago at the 40th anniversary special. And I've seen her in interviews and I think she still got it and it's absolutely hilarious. I'm going to take Jane Curtin, one of the original cast members, 77, but in my opinion, like can still do it for, it's just, we're talking about this season, I think she can still do it now. She doesn't have to be in sketches. She could just do Update. So I'll take Jane Curtin as my Weekend Update anchor. Truly like one of the all-time greats.
Love that.
So there you go. And then, if we need her to come into something, we can always have her there. And then I think to round out my team, I know you guys talked a little bit about like the straight man role, like the person who could just really like anchor down a sketch. Like I got Will Ferrell, Kristen Wiig, Eddie Murphy, Kate McKinnon, Will Forte, and Andy Samberg, who are all like sort of wild cards, but I need somebody to sort of just be like the everyman in a sketch. So I'm going to go Jason Sudeikis here.
Nice.
That's a good pick. Yeah. And you get Forte and Sudeikis in that same team. Maybe we get a John Bovey reunion or a whatever their ESPN classic characters were. Great.
Yeah.
Love that duo. I truly have no idea what I need still on my team, which is kind of a problem. But I currently have a cast of Martin Short, Amy Poehler, Kenan Thompson, Tim Robinson, Cecily Strong, Adam Sandler, and then I have Tina Fey in the mix as well. I don't know what I still need, which makes things extra difficult. I am going to take someone who I have felt the absence of. Maybe not so much this in 49, but definitely the season after he left, definitely felt this big absence in the cast, which makes me feel like I would benefit from adding him. I'm going to put Beck Bennett on my team in this last spot.
Good call.
Someone who can be the straight man and also be an outrageous wild card.
Yeah, could do impressions. He's, very underrated.
Yeah. I definitely would put him in that same group as Tim Meadows of like somebody who's
for sure
very versatile on the show, but doesn't really get their flowers. Evan, you have the last pick here. So it's your musical guest.
I know it's kind of an unceremonious way to go out. I will say I'm mad at myself. I messed up and I knew I was going to, and I can't believe I messed up this bad. And so I'm like, I'll do an episode with no musical guest. If I could change that answer. I can't believe, and it's just because you guys are out here shit talking Kevin Nealon. But I was like, oh my God, no one took Seth Meyers. I could have had Seth Meyers do Weekend Update.
I was gonna take Seth if you didn't take Ego.
I completely slipped my mind, but there's nothing that can be done about that now. Kevin, you're still going to do a great job. You can wear a GoPro and climb a mountain and do Weekend Update. I mean, shit. I'm sold. Musical guest, like I said, I'm going current. I'm going current, so I'm picking a group from the 90s.
Great.
But they're the big musical news right now. It's actually happening. They've reunited, and Lorne's got to get them on the horn, the Lorne horn. So we're getting Oasis in here.
Oasis, a Denzel Washington and Oasis episode of Saturday Night Live is insane to me.
it sounds crazy, but it is relevant to within this month. Sure. And like I said, it is very clear that there's my like age right there.
But at least Oasis has been a musical guest on the show already. Like they were on the Matthew Perry episode back in the late 90s. Good
memory. No, they'll be back. Yeah, I need Denzel, I need Oasis, and I need Sherry O'Terry.
Yeah, so as a recap, the episodes here, Evan, you have Denzel Washington hosting with Oasis as the musical guest, featuring a cast of Bill Hader, Maya Rudolph, Dana Carvey, Tim Meadows, Bobby Moynihan, Sherry O'Terry, Ego Wodum, and Kevin Nealon on the Weekend Update desk. I have Tom Hanks hosting with Taylor Swift as the musical guest, with a cast of Martin Short, Amy Poehler, Martin Short, Kenan Thompson, Tim Robinson, Cecily Strong, Adam Sandler, and Beck Bennett, with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler doing double duty on the update desk, I should say. And then, John, your episode, Steve Martin hosting with Justin Timberlake as the musical guest, with a cast of Will Ferrell, Kristen Wiig, Eddie Murphy, Kate McKinnon, Will Forte, Andy Samberg, Jason Sudeikis, and Jane Curtin on the Weekend Update desk. I guess, there are a lot of people still that didn't get drafted that have still been great on the show. Does anybody want to remove a pick and pick anybody left on the board? We'll leave that option available.
I already said who I would swap out, Seth Meyers for Kevin Nealon.
Is that something you want to do, Evan? I mean, you've been giving Kevin such a positive encouragement the last several rounds.
Here's the thing. With my current cast, I have the opportunity to keep a potential Hans and Franz reunion or reunite Stefan and Seth Meyers. And that feels more important right now in this economy.
So you're gonna remove
if that's allowed, yeah, sure, let's do it.
I mean, I'm fine with it.
I mean, you picked Denzel, so anything's allowed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love my show. Let's perfect.
Put Seth in there. Yeah, I mean, hey, Seth is my favorite late night host.
I know.
And I think that, like, I don't know if this played into anyone's thoughts with like Jost and Che also.
Yeah.
Where we see Jost and Che do update on a regular basis already. I feel like I see at least not so much necessarily the guests element of hosting Weekend Update, aside from whenever Andy Samberg has like a character idea and goes on late night with Seth Meyers. But I feel like with the monologue, I see Seth also doing a shorter version, I guess, or a different version of Weekend Update every week also, or almost every night. So that, made it feel less special than seeing Jane Curtin, Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, or even Kevin Nealon returning to that desk.
Just gonna find any way to talk shit about my choice.
Yeah.
I mean, we are gonna have to lobby on which episode is gonna be the one to choose. John, anybody that you would like to substitute out, or you feel happy with your with who you've drafted? Excuse me.
I think I'm good. Yeah, I feel pretty good. I think I crushed you guys.
I mean, yeah, you
got some heavy hitters there.
You do have a lot of heavy hitters in there. I also feel content with my draft as well. I mean, there are some people that I had sitting in the honorable mentions there with John Lovitz and Molly Shannon and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. That was my next group I was looking at, but
yeah, I don't really wanted to pick Dan Aykroyd, but at this point in his life, I don't know that it would work.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he would come on to host, promote his Skull vodka brand or whatever that drink is called. I just know it comes in a skull. Yeah. Well, now is the point where we can lobby. Give one last case to the listeners who will give their input on which episode they'd like to see the most. Evan, you were the first pick, so give us a quick little pitch on why everyone should tune in to Denzel Washington and Oasis hosting SNL.
I love that show. Here, what I will say though is, since no one else is switching, I will go back to Kevin Nealon because that feels like cheating, and that's who I drafted, and I like it. I still like that choice.
All right, fair enough. Kevin Nealon's back on your team.
Listen, if you're a fan of SNL, we've seen some of these people. We've seen Tom Hanks host. We've seen Steve Martin host. It's always good to great. But how exciting is it when there's someone that you've not seen before? A legend. Imagine a Training Day sketch with Denzel Washington and Bill Hader. Bill Hader doing Angel Dust. This is comic gold. Bill Hader, Maya Rudolph, Dana Carvey. Right there, that's maybe three of the best cast members ever. We've got impressions on my team. We've got big sketch energy. We got some goofballs. We got it all. It's a well-rounded team, a solid weekend update, and Denzel fucking Washington. And that is my pitch.
All right. Well, I have the next draft pick, so I'll say that my Tom Hanks and Taylor Swift hosted episode, I think
pandering.
It's is it pandering or is it giving the people what they want?
It's giving the people what they want. That's not how I run Saturday Night Live.
I think we're getting titans of SNL. The longest tenured cast member, Kenan Thompson, alongside beloved Weekend Update hosts and comedy duos in Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. You're also getting the high energy of Martin Short, the crowd favorite of Adam Sandler or Cecily Strong. And then you've also got Beck Bennett and Tim Robinson in there to really shake things up. You'll get a wacky little pre-tape sketch in the vein of something that you might now see on I Think You Should Leave. It's not... I struggle to see Denzel Washington in a wig doing a wacky character. And... John's got a solid lineup, but maybe it's too many powerhouses colliding with each other. Who knows? I think that Tom Hanks and Taylor Swift could lead a great episode to celebrate the history of Saturday Night Live in its 50th season. John, your pitch for Steve Martin and Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, what else is there to say? No, seriously, two of the great host musical guests ever, just to have them on the show and get them to see, add to their resumes, I think would be so exciting. And again, we're not just picking a cast here for season 46 or 47 or 48 or 49. This is for 50, right? So, when you say too many powerhouses, there's no such thing in season 50. It's about celebrating the history of the show. So I feel like my cast definitely ranges through SNL history when you're talking about, the absolute greatest of three different eras in Will Ferrell, Kristen Wiig, and Eddie Murphy. And then even Kate McKinnon, who's probably the most recent great cast member to come out of the show. So just those four to top it off. Then I get a little bit personal with what I like to see in the show, which I think is, people like, Forte and Sudeikis, who are just amazing together, just being the straight guy and the weirdo, and then Andy Samberg, who changed the game of pre-tapes on the show. Even just this past weekend, we got to see a new digital short with him on there. So for me, I feel like my team is stacked, and then I have one of the greatest Weekend Update hosts, anchors ever. Somebody who, if you're going to think about the history of the show and celebrate it going back, 45 years to her being on the update desk, I just would watch. If this episode ever existed, this season ever existed, I feel like everybody would be watching it. So that's why I'm happy about my team.
Here's the main thing I have to say. You don't want to screw over the main cast and just go, you're not involved this season. But how fun would it have been if season 50 was just a mashup season? Like, these were just 3 episodes. Every episode was a new mashup group. The people in line going to see the show don't know who the cast's going to be. That would have been fun as hell.
Well, I think they're doing that a little bit because,
So.
they're bringing back some old cast members for this season and they're integrating them into the show. So like we just got an SNL digital short, but they did integrate the current cast. So that was a throwback. Having Dana Carvey on the show, all these people between like 40 and 60 are like, just so excited that they're having, Dana back on the show. Like if we got a church chat this week, everyone would go nuts. So I think they can do it without, disrupting the integrity of season 50. So it's happening.
I do think also there's coming back to do Biden, Dana's really positioned himself in a good spot to join the 5-Timers Club hosting at some point in the next couple months. Well, those are our 3 episodes. We will hope to hear from you both on social media or on in our email or anywhere that you want to let us know which episode you think would be most exciting to check out. You can let us know on our social media at HowDoWeHuman or send us an email to HowDoWeHumanPod@gmail.com. John, anything you'd like to plug as we start to wrap up here?
Sure. So for those who don't follow the Saturday Night Network, if you love SNL, whether it's SNL from many years ago or from now, we do like full coverage of everything. So during live weeks, we do an after show. Right after the show is over at 1 a.m., we're live on YouTube to break down all of the sketches that happened that night. We got a live chat going as well, so it's a great way to meet SNL fans from around the world. We have a Monday night roundtable where we talk about the context of that episode and how it stacks up in the history of the show. We also have a statistics show that airs on Wednesday nights called By the Numbers, where we look at all the screen time and analytics of the cast that week. So if you're really into sports and you love like live television that way, you could look at it through our By the Number shows. And then if you're a fan of vintage SNL and you want to catch up the way that I did, well, not exactly the way I did, but if you want to catch up in a little bit more of a Cliff Notes way with looking back at the seasons, we are producing a new series on our YouTube channel right now called Everything You Need to Know About Saturday Night Live, where we have like 15 to 20 minute videos on each season telling the story of season 1, 2, 3, and so on. So it's a really fun way to catch up on this special anniversary season. So search the Saturday Night Network, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you listen, and you can follow us on social media at the SNL Network on any social platform.
That's awesome. I'd love to check those out.
Thanks.
Are you going to are you trying to hit the season 49 everything you need to know right before the 50th anniversary special? Are you trying to do it before the end of the season? What's the timeline like? You just did season
14 just came out, so we have 15 coming out this week, so we'll be through that big milestone. I would say likely by the time it's season 51 premieres, we will have all 50 seasons out. That's the plan right now. They take time, but my hope is that they'll be out. I mean, ideally, like in a perfect world, we would have had everything done in time for the 50th anniversary special, but we're really like putting like our love and care into all of these videos to like make sure that they celebrate the show and they do the show justice. So for us, like I'd rather make them as good as they possibly can be and then have them out like eventually rather than force them out over the next few months. So I'd say probably by this time next year, like all 50 will be out.
Great. Awesome. Well, I hope that everybody enjoyed this draft. We are in that big momentous season for SNL. Before we go, anything, John or Evan, that you hope to see before SNL season 50 is up? Maybe somebody joining that 5-Timers Club, maybe somebody coming back to either host or cameo. Any just wild card choices other than Denzel Washington and Oasis? No, any wild choices? Great.
Denzel Washington will host this season.
I think he's been asked before, but I don't know.
Putting it out there. This is the year.
I think he's been asked. I'm not sure if he's would do it or not. But yeah, I think for me,
he has been on. Not as a host.
If this is it for Kenan Thompson, then I would like him to host. I think that would be really fun. Awesome. Eddie Murphy once did this. I would love to see if they do the same thing where Kenan maybe hosts the finale of season 50 if that's his last episode. Like I think that would be a great way to wrap up this special anniversary season.
Yeah, that would be exciting. I'll say for me, we've seen a lot of great writers come back and be great hosts like Larry David and John Mulaney. I don't know if this person has been asked and just chosen not to do it, but I would like to see Bob Odenkirk come in and host. Feels like the time he would have been asked has maybe passed, but hey, I'd still love to get him in there for the anniversary of the show.
I can tell you that I got to hang out with him a little bit when I was there in the spring, and I did he was at the show, and I did talk to him and ask him if he would ever host, and he said he'd love to do it.
Okay, well, Lauren, Bob's interested, so let's get him in there.
And I'll talk to Denzel and see what we can do. Yeah. Every time we do a draft, I find out that I'm the strangest person in the world, and no one agrees with my takes. So
isn't that the concept of the podcast that you're trying to figure out how to be human? So
100%.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, this it did end up tying back into the theme of our podcast. Evan, this has perhaps been a very awkward moment for you.
But I feel like I crushed it, and I hope to find one other person out there that agrees with me is my goal.
Great.
Good luck.
Well, yes, good luck. Thank you again, Jon, for being on the podcast. Maybe we'll, invite you back to do a regular episode of the show. You don't have to only talk about Saturday Night Live anytime you're in front of a microphone.
Dolphins nipples I could talk about.
That's true. Let's plan an episode on dolphin nipples and fill an hour talking about those wonderful ocean creatures.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Jon. And I guess with that, those great initials SNL are going to be replaced with OK and the letter B for bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.